Me, they long to be close to you. Why do
9 months ago, Karen Carpenter died apparently as a result of anorexia. And later in this hour, Richard Carpenter remembers his sister and their wonderful career together.
Carpenters, Karen and Richard, with one of the scores of hit records they made during the 70s. To most of us, Karen Carpenter seemed like she was on top of the world, but she suffered from anorexia nervosa, the disorder that causes so many young people to starve themselves. Last February, Karen Carpenter died suddenly of heart failure, apparently caused by the anorexia. In a few minutes, Richard Carpenter joins us to talk about his sister and their wonderful music together.
get around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down. All the world looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found ever since you've been around. You almost put me at the top of the world.
During the 1970s, Karen Carpenter and her brother Richard really did seem to have it all. They had one hit record after another with songs including We've Only Just Begun, Close to You, that have become classics. The Carpenters were known almost as much for their clean-cut image, if you will, as for their music. But what a lot of people did not know was that for a long time, Karen was suffering from anorexia nervosa and virtually starving herself. 2 years ago, she began therapy for her illness, this condition, and last February, when she was only 32 years old, just when she seemed on her way to being cured, she died from heart failure that was apparently the result of the anorexia. Certainly the Carpenters' music lives on. Another album has just come out called Voice of the Heart, and Richard Carpenter is with us this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, David.
Why did you, this album, this kind of album, this music right now, 9 months after Karen's death?
Well, we were on our way along with the album, and after giving it a great deal of thought, I decided to go back in the studio and complete it. Karen meant a great deal to many millions of people, and I feel it's a tribute album, and that it should be heard. To have all that wonderful singing just sitting on the shelves of the record company didn't seem right.
How much did you have to add back into it? Did you have to write more or add tracks?
Well, yeah, I had to do the arrangements as far as completing the arrangements. How we normally worked was bass, piano, drums, and Karen's leads.
And that was
of
it?
course, when well, that was the beginning, the foundation. And then, of course, with the multi-track recording, we could put whatever on whenever we wished. So I went back in and completed the background vocals and strings, horns, woodwinds, additional instruments, etc.
So what we're going to hear really is another Carpenters album recorded in 81 and 82. So, really?
The bulk of it, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When did you, Richard, when did you and Karen both realize that she had a real problem that was dangerous?
Well, my family, friends, and I realized it as early as 75.
Right.
But of course, one of the problems with anorexia nervosa is that the victim, a lot of times, does not realize it his or herself.
When did Karen realize that she had to get some help of some kind?
In 1981. So that was many a year. I mean, it's hard to put ourselves in her place. It really is. But it's the type of thing I know she was having trouble with, because all the people right around her were concerned. So she knew that that something was wrong, but it has to be in her heart of hearts that she had to believe that she, in fact, was suffering with this disorder.
What about, now, pressure? Now, goodness knows, yours is a pressure business. Anybody who's been successful in it or not successful feels the same pressure, as, of course, there are many businesses that have pressure. What have the doctors said to you? Was it pressure of some kind that leads someone or Karen to this? What do you know?
Well, see, that's very difficult to say, because, again, another problem with the disorder is exactly what causes it. And it's easy to point a finger at the pressures of the business, but Karen adored her career and the pressures, and so do I.
Yeah.
So I really don't think it was that at all.
Do you have a clue, though? I mean, as close as you were together, do you have a clue in your back of your mind as to how she was afflicted and she's not alone, as we know.
No, not at all. We're hearing more and more every day.
Exactly.
And Karen's passing has really focused worldwide attention on this disorder. I've given this a great deal of thought as to what could possibly have started this, and I can see that Karen wanted to lose some weight. Karen had an hourglass figure. Broad shoulders and thin waist and kind of the old hourglass figure. And, of course, with the thin is in thing that started in the 70s, it became a little more fashionable, a little more in to kind of be like this. But there was nothing she could have done about that. Now, what takes one person from just losing a few pounds to obsessive dieting? That's the mystery, and I don't know. I really don't.
How have you dealt with all this?
Well, at times I really go through rough periods, of course, because unfortunately Karen has passed away, and I realize this, but other times with the way time does get by us all, I sit down and reflect and think, I cannot believe she's gone. 32 years old. Karen did not drink. She did not smoke. She never touched drugs, and here she is gone from heart failure. See, the theory that there are several that have been advanced, and the one that makes most sense to me is that the weight that was put back on Karen at the end of her therapy had gone on too quickly. The body was dealing with a certain amount of weight for so many years, and here were 30 extra pounds in a relatively short period of time, and it really put a strain on the heart, combined with her active schedule.
Richard,
so obviously it was a shock.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, David.
More tomorrow with Richard and with Richard and Karen's parents. And it's 4:00.